Welcome to lecture 27, that is a organic plantation crop management. We have discussed about the field crops, that is your cereals, pulses, oil seeds and vegetables. So, though we have given example of few crops for each group. So, most of the crops of the same groups, the management practices almost quite similar. So, knowing one crop, we will be able to manage other crops through organic farming. So, similarly, we will discussing about the plantation crops. There are many plantation crops, mango, guava, sapota. Most of the orchard crops has comes under plantation crops. So, we will discuss here only two crops. One is the mango and the tea. Those are the perennial crops. Unlike the cereal field crops, they have the different management practices. In case of field crops, they are seasonals, right. So, they do complete their life cycles in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months or maximum 6 months, and there is rotations after one crop we do go for the other crops. So, whereas for this plantation crops, these are all the perennial crops. They grow more than either 2 years, 3 years, their life cycle they can continue up to 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. So, for them because a particular field is fixed for growing those type of crops. So, how we can produce the fruits specially, and also we can have we will discuss about mango for the fruits, and also the tea as a green tea or the black tea as you drink the tea. So, how you can have organic tea or the organic fruits to have a they regulate, of course, they have effect on the human health having the organic foods. How we can manage those organic foods or organic tea in the field levels, so that we can have a better output at the same time when we look for the healthy products. So, coming for the mango, this is a special the tropical crop or subtropical crop, as you say, this origin in southern Asia. Mango trees can tolerate a wide range of climatic conditions as per climatic requirement of mango is concerned, and it is grown from very hot and humid to cool, dry and very hot and arid climate. And for optimum growth and production, the average maximum temperature should be between 27 and 38 degrees Celsius. So, mostly a tropical crop, subtropical crops where it is mango is grown. Soil, mango tree grows and produce well on a various wide range of soils, and the ideal soil texture of mango cultivation under is a sandy loam or the loam soils, which have the clay content of 15 to 25%, but soils with the clay content up to 50% are also suitable where mango can be grown. Mango tree grows best on slight slope, which enables runoff of excess water and prevents waterlogging, because of course, especially during the sapling stage at the beginning of the growth. So, most of the fruit trees they do not sustain the waterlogging. So, if you are the sowing time, the planting time usually in the monsoon seasons, the start of the monsoon periods. So, you do grow the fruit trees in the slopy lands or the raised lands where there should not be any water accumulations. In water accumulations for few days can have very adverse effect on the establishment of the crop. And also it grows best in the soil with a pH value of 6 to 7.2. Land preparation. So, as you discussed land preparation for the field crops, as you discussed the cereals, pulses, vegetables, oil seeds. So, as seasonal crops we go for the broad bed and the furrow, as you discussed the common way of land preparation, broad bed and furrow we go for the particular spacing. But for these crops as a perennial crops and it is a permanent field, because the crop can be grown for 30 years, 40 years in the same field. So, we will make the pits and with proper spacing as per the crops. So, pits are prepared and the spacing is with spacings depending upon the crops and the variety of the crops, the spacing is decided. For this mango, the land is prepared usually by ploughing, harrowing and leveling is done, and a gentle slope is provided to facilitate proper irrigations and prompt drainage to avoid harmful effects of water stagnation, as we discussed. So, this crop does not sustain water stagnations. So, there should be the provision for the proper drainage. As you are planting seasons during the monsoon seasons for a better establishment, because if you plant the crops in monsoon seasons, So, the crop can get water from the natural rainfall. So, there is no need of the irrigation requirement. So, in that case, if there is a heavy downpour or the heavy rainfalls, in that case there should be proper drainage facility, so that water should not accumulate in the field. Water accumulating field will affect the establishment of these saplings. After marking of the points of the plants, pit size, the spacing for these crops is a wider spacing 90 centimeter, 90 centimeter, 90 centimeter. That means the width and the length is 90 and 90 centimeter, and the depth is 90 centimeter. So, this pit is prepared, and spacing depending upon the crop, it can be minimum should be 5 meters, and it can go up to even if 10 meters depending upon the crop type. The spacing between the plants in the row or the plants in between row. While digging up pits, it is essential to keep the topsoil and subsoil separately in 2 heaps near each pit. So, after digging a pits, when you are digging the pits of 90 centimeter, 90 centimeter, 90 centimeter, the length and width and depth, the soils are removed and the soils are kept as a layer wise, because you can have two layers, at least the 90 centimeter depth. If you have the 3 layers, better is it is. So, the layers, top layer soil should be kept separately, and the middle layers and the bottom layers. The layers because the top layers are the mostly fertile soils, because they are rich in carbons because of the fall of the leaves and the microbial activity in the top layers, and the bottom layers are less fertile somehow, because when you grow the crops, usually you will keep the layer of the soil same, and the mango, as we are making 90 centimeter pit, also will fill the soils and will with the compost in the, I will discuss that one, will do compost material. So, that fill this, then you put the soils as per the layer wise and fill the pit. So, what you say for this, after digging the pit, then you keep the soil separately, the layer wise, which can be refilled afterwards after planting. And moreover, the exposing soils in the summer seasons, because the pits are dug in the you can in the summer seasons around April, May, and the soil can be left open, that is exposed to sunshine. So, the many insect, pest and disease are also killed. And soil-borne pathogens, those are destroyed, those are killed during the exposure to the suns, and the pit is filled with 20 kg farm-made manure, 5 kg vermicompost, and biofertilizer used azospirillum and phosphobacteria, neem cake 500 gram, bone meal 500 gram is used in each pit. So, after exposure of 1 month, then pit can be filled with 20 kg farm-made manure, 5 kg vermicompost along with biofertilizers, neem cake of 500 gram and the bone meal 500 gram, you can mix together in the pit, and the soil can be again replaced as per the layer wise, and the pit should be covered, and this should be, the pit should be left as such for at least 15 days for incubations before planting, 15-20 days. So, so you can leave the pit as such, then you can go for the applying green manures in the inter-row areas where the pit is not there, pit can be marked with a stick, and the other areas we can go for the green leaf manuring like dhancha can be sown, and it can add nitrogen to the field. And spacing, like the spacing around 5 to 7 meter, 5 meter minimum spacing, and can be 7 or sometimes you may go to 10 meter too. And planting materials, the mango prepared by grafted mango, is mango saplings are used for planting, is procured from nurseries which propagated by organic means, because the planting material they should have the organic matter inside for the planting material. Planting is done with the onset of the monsoons, as usually in the July period, when there is monsoon onset we go for planting in July to December, depending upon the monsoon availability and the irrigation facility. And nutrient management for the mango is concerned. So, you go for the okay. So, so when you fill the pit, then the after 15 days again the pit can be opened, and we can plant the mango seedling, and pit should be covered as such. So, depending upon the layer wise soils removed, same layer can be replaced in the pit. And we can go for after the planting, we can go for the mulching. Mulching means mulching materials, you can biomulch, usually the nut shells, weeds, grass, wood chips, glaze, paddy and wheat straw, rice husk, coir dust, banana, sugarcane leaf, etc. that can be used as a mulching material. So, we have discussed already the advantage of mulching. So, this because having the biomulch, it adds nutrient to the soils, it suppresses the weed growth and increases the infiltration of rainwaters into the soil, and also minimizes the soil erosion. That is soil conservation. You can, as I discussed, you can go for green manuring, and you can add the already applied biofertilizer, that is phosphorus solubilizing bacteria and the azospirillums during the pit preparations, and also as soil application during the crop growth periods. And as far as organic manure is concerned, we can apply organic manures like the 10 to 20 kg per tree per year. That is either through vermicompost, biodynamic compost, or microbial amalgamated compost. The compost will be applied around 10 to 20 kg of compost per tree per year. Even after the plantation years, this can be continued applications, but every year around 10 to 20 kg compost can be applied for each tree. Then growing up legume or green manuring as the intercrop, because the beginning of the at least up to 2 to 3 years, when the canopy, the mango canopy is not fully covered, that interspace area can be utilized for growing leguminous crops. We can go for the, as we discussed, you can go for the peanut specially, or you can grow chickpea depending upon the seasons and the irrigation water availability. We can grow different crops, either peanut, chickpea, legume crops like pulse crops can be grown in the interspace area, so that we can give a good return. So, without applying any chemical fertilizers, because only through organic way, if I apply organic way. So, interspace area can be utilized for 2 years, we can have a good returns, because for 2 years the interspace area remains vacant, and after 2 to 3 years only the canopy covers, when you may not get a good return. But in spite, even you have the canopy coverage after 2 years, we can grow some crops which does not require the high sunshines, like your the turmeric and the ginger also can be grown in the shade area, to have a better return from this system. Then mulching after application of you can have the cow pat pit, as you discussed last class, it can be applied also. Cow horn manures and release of earthworms can be done for every tree, and followed by the mulching. Then need based foliar spraying of biodynamic liquid manure, vermiwash, or you can go for the neem seed kernel extract also. Vermiwash can be sprayed as 1:6 5 times. So, 1 parts of vermiwash with the 1 liter of vermiwash, 5 liter of water can be mixed together, can be sprayed, and neem seed kernel extract around the 5%, 50 ml per liter also, that can be sprayed in regular intervals to protect the crop from many pests and diseases. Then coming to tea, mango is grown in the flat land, but we do manage for the slope, so that there is no the water accumulations. Tea usually grown in the slopy lands. It does not require, it does not sustain standing water tea. So, in hilly areas, usually in case in India, as you see the Darjeeling, Assam, northeast area very famous for tea. In south also we have the tea in the hilly areas, and Sri Lanka also very good production of tea, Sri Lanka, China. So, usually in the hilly areas and cool climate favors for the tea cultivations, where there should not be any stagnant water. So, the arrangement the temperature, if you see, the temperature is around 21 to 29 degrees Celsius is favorable for the tea cultivations, but temperature more than 35 degrees Celsius or less than 15 degrees Celsius causes reduction in growth due to the affecting the process of photosynthesis is affected with very high temperature and also very low temperature. Having high temperature more than 35 degrees Celsius also, that influence the that affect the quality of the tea, because the tea aroma, is protected in the cooler climate rather than the dry climate. So, that's why Darjeeling tea is having a very low temperature, is a high aroma, and that's a more tastier as compared to the tea from the plain lands. In Kadakpur also we are successful in growing tea. The temperature goes around 45 degrees Celsius, sometimes to more than 45, few days it may be close to 45 degrees Celsius. So, in that conditions also we are successful growing tea. The quality though not same as of the tea grown from the temperate climate like the Darjeeling, but we are successful in having a good quality of tea by having the microclimates. So, we are growing the many trees like the Albizia lebec or the sapota tree, or some of the fruit trees, guava trees are grown in this, so that the microclimate is maintained. The temperature inside the tea gardens remains around 3 degree lower as compared to the outsides during summers. So, we are able to have the tea cultivations in non-traditional area like the Kharagpur as a high rainfall zone and high temperature condition. Soil, it is able to thrive in a well drained, deep and friable and loamy soils, because you require a well drained soils, because the tree does not sustain the standing water stagnation. So, should be well drained soil, and pH is around 4.3 to 5.8. Tea prefer to have a acid soils for its better growth and development and better quality of the tea. 4.3 to 5. Less than 6 the pH. Nutrient management, is a perennial crop. It can continue for 20 years, 30 years. So, like also you make peats like mango. Mango has a wider spacing crops, but tea is a narrow spacing as compared to mango. The pit size is around 45 centimeter and 45 centimeter in length and width, and 60 centimeter is the depth estimate, and spacing here is around 1 meter into 0.75 meter, 100 centimeter into 75 centimeter. 100 centimeter the row to row spacing, and 75 centimeter is the plant to plant spacing in the same row. And this is the size of each pit: 45 centimeter of length, 45 centimeter of width, and 60 centimeter of depth. In nutrient dose, usually the tea requires 200 kg nitrogen, 60 kg P2O5, 120 kg K2O per hectare as a medium fertile soil. So, each year we need to supply this much of N, P and K for the tea cultivations. And as we are going for the organic, if you go for the conventional vermicompost to supply 200 kg nitrogen per hectare, it comes around 13 tons per hectare. And this and if you go for the initial planting years, if you see the peat basis, it comes around 1 kg vermicompost per peat, and the spacing 100 centimeter into 75 centimeter, and this comes around 13,000 plants per hectare, and per each plant around 1 kg of vermicompost in the beginning of the planting year, 1 kg vermicompost, 50 gram of neem cake and 100 gram of bone meal powder can be mixed together in the pits. So, same way also when you go for the planting, the starting of the planting seasons, we open the pits in the summer dry seasons around April, May, and keep the pit exposed for maybe 15 to 20 days, so that the many harmful insect, pest and disease can be killed. So, after that we fill the pits with the vermicompost and neem cake, bone meal, and with the soils has been excavated from the pit, soil can be refilled, and leave the pit for and keep a mark in every pit, and leave the pit for 15 days for incubations before going for the seedling. So, after that we can reopen the pit and go for the tea seedling planting. Compost, oil cake, rock phosphate are the main substitute inputs to substitute the removal of the nutrients for the organic farming. Manure fertilizer given at least 3 times per year after plantation. So, after the plantation years, from second year onwards, this the fertilizers as you say either the compost can be applied, the required amount of compost can be applied 3 splits in a year, and this can be applied to the bush, tea bush, and can be incorporated in the soil by loosening the soil. The dose of manure should be maintained on the basis of the soil status and the crop demand. And use of botanical pesticides for the tea, as you know, this is say as a long lived woody perennials and monoculture systems, So, plantation crops provides a stable microclimate and a continuous supply of food for rapid build up phytophagous species that includes insect, pest and disease. So, unlike say field crops, this is a single crop and a perennial crop. So, this becomes a good host for many pests and diseases. So, tea mosquito bugs, red spider mites, termites, flassworm, aphid, jacid, thrips and nematodes are the major pests of the plantation crops. So, botanical antimicrobials derived from plants are currently recognized. So, as you discussed, so as a biocontrol agents or the botanical pesticides. They are as a biodegradable and systemic and eco-friendly, non-toxic to mammals are the thus considered for the safe use for the organic farming. And natural compounds are well suited to organic food productions in industrialized countries and can be greater roles in protection of the food crops in developing countries, as we have also discussed this one previous classes as a brief introduction for these natural pesticides. And some plant based antimicrobials like the neem products, pyrethroids and essential oils are already used to manage pest population large scale in case of the plantation crops. So, what are the crops can be the botanical pesticide can be extracted from of the crops we have discussed earlier, but for these plantation crops use of botanical pesticide from those trees we can have the neem, koranja, tobacco and the rotenone as we have discussed, annona, lantana, datura and chrysanthemum. So, these trees the products from these plants can be used for preparation of the botanical pesticides. So, how they are effective for which type of pest, especially the neem is effective for the root knot nematodes and the koranja for the root knot nematode and the heloptetis like a these are the worms or the moths, and the tobacco that is that against thrips, scales, aphids and the looper caterpillars, and rotenone that can work against sucking pests, caterpillars and the beetles, annona that is a helopeltis that is a insects, and the datura that can work against tea mosquito bugs and thrips, jascids, aphids, lantana against red spider mites and the aphids, and chrysanthemum against tea mosquito bug, thrips, aphids and scale insects. So, these are the products from this extracts from this of the plants can be used for the many pest and disease control. How to prepare these products, especially preparation if prepare the aqueous extract of these products. So, first the collection of leaves, seeds or rhizome from those plants, either the leaves can be used, seeds can be used and the rhizomes also can be used from those plants. Then depulping and drying. So, there can be depulping, removal of the pulps and that can be kept for the drying, followed by remove the seed coat, the upper layer, the seed coats in case of the seed coats have to be removed. Then you go for the oven dry and make them powder. So, by oven drying, so remove the moisture and this can be powdered, this the products either leaves, seeds and rhizomes can be made in a powdered form. And to this what the powder, take 25 kg of these powders, either leaves, seeds or rhizome can mixed also, can take 25 kg, add 250 ml adjuvant, that adjuvant is used to increase the efficiency or the activity of this the ingredients or the can be the more effective adding this adjuvant, and soak in 50 liters of water overnight. So, after that overnight, then extract and filter through fine cloth, then add 500 liters of water, spray this solution in 1 hectare area of plantations. So, so this is around you can get the add 500 liters of water, so around 25 kg of powders. Initially you add with the 50 liters of water and soak it overnight, keep overnight. So, the next morning you can filter it and you can add 500 liters of water and that can be sprayed because you cannot store it for longer periods, it can be sprayed immediately, because for this the formulations the botanical pesticides. So, keeping for longer periods the compound may be deactivated as we discussed earlier classes. So, as soon as you prepare it can be sprayed, and very importantly it should be sprayed during the afternoon hours because in case of the sunshines the compound may be also deactivated. So, these are the some of the botanical pesticides can be extracted from these plants and that can be used for the gardens, orchards or the tea gardens to control the several pests and diseases. As you see the quality as is concerned the quality of the organic tea, how the organic farming, because the organic way of nutrient management, having organic farming, that has effect on the quality. So, we had one experiment in our the tea garden here in IIT Kharagpur, where we have around 15 acres tea garden, and we are getting of course the green tea and the black tea, tea is produced and processed here as a green and black tea. So, we have seen through one research work as a research class experiment, where we have divided in a particular area into 4 parts. So, one part we did not apply anything, there is no applications, that is nothing is applied. Tea is grown as a native soils, and as you see the no applications, is a nutrient source. So, one part we separated this one by providing the seeds like the tin seeds to a depth of around 1 meter. So, that the movement of the nutrients from one plot to another plot can be restricted. So, so one part, so no application, nothing, the tea was grown as in the native soils without application of any fertilizers or any external source of nutrients. And the other part we applied as of chemical fertilizers, the normal dose as 200 kg nitrogen, 60 kg P2O5 and 100 kg K2 per hectare as a normal recommendations for this soil. And the third part we applied only vermicompost, meeting the normal nutrient recommendation at the beginning. So, vermicompost as 13 tons per hectare, and the fourth part we applied vermicompost same as 13 ton per hectare. In addition to that, also we did spray vermiwash regularly in the field, having the dilution of 1 part of 1 liter of vermiwash with the around 5 to 6 liter of water, and the vermiwash sprayed on the crop canopy. And this treatment we did from the beginning of the plantation years. So, after 4 this is applied for the 4 years continuous, and then the observations were taken as we wanted to calculate determine the total contents of catechins, that is polyphenols or the antioxidants present in the tea, catechins, and the percentage of increase or decrease in catechin over the control treatment where nothing was applied. So, interestingly we can find that the content of catechins, so that is a component of tea, that is milligram per gram of tea leaves, that helps in controlling, and that is helps in having the tea regularly, the polyphenols that helps to reduce the free radical formation in the bodies, and also that is the cause of that minimize the exposure of human body to cancer diseases. You can say if green tea is much better than this black tea, but if you say catechins, these are some of the antioxidants present tea. In case of no applications, in the native soil fertility it was 14.75 milligram per gram of tea. By applying chemical fertilizer, the catechinic content of tea is decreased, around 50% decrease in catechinic content by using chemical fertilizers. But whereas if you go for only application of the vermicompost, no chemical fertilizer, the contents of the catechin is increased by 11%, and if you apply vermiwash, also is increased by 26%. That means, it says that by having the organic way management, we can improve the quality. And if you see the amount of productions, the amount of production of the tea leaves from this chemical fertilizer, from the no application, it was very low productions, but the chemical, organic and the 3 organics, they are almost comparable, though the chemical had the higher production as compared to organic, but the quality wise the organic treated plots have the better quality, having higher content of catechins as compared to the chemical products. So, that is why you see the total phenol and the catechinic contents of organically produced tea, this is vermicompost plus vermiwash, was significantly higher than the conventionally produced tea, and this is published in ASAB, American Society of Agriculture and Biological Engineering. So, the point is that the plantation crops, there the requirement and the managements differ from the field crops, and here as a perennial crops we can grow the crops for the longer periods. So, from the very beginning when you go for the pit making for the planting of the sapling, we should take care of the initial nutrient recommendation management, and after that when the crop establishes, then year wise we can go for the applications of the nutrients through organic, either to vermicompost or the compost or the enriched compost is better. You can minimize the quantity of the requirement of the compost. At the same time, we can go for the applying the neem based neem extracts and also the plant based extract as we discussed from the botanical extracts, the botanical pesticides regularly around 10 days or the interval at the beginning of the year. So that we can control the many insect pests in case of the plantation crops, and to have a better productions. At the same time, having organics, we have management, we can have better quality, we can have a higher food value for the better human health. Thank you very much.